Wow, we have quite a lot of participants.
Do you want to start just because we only have 30 minutes and we want to make sure that this finishes on the spot?
Yes. All right, 5:30. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you're all safe and healthy. We're very excited to have you here. My name is Estefania Lopez, and along with Luisa Barbosa, we run the Committee of Entrepreneurship for ALPFA. And we want to introduce these Entrepreneurial Snacks web seminars that will offer professional tools that are easy to apply for everyone. It's a 6-episode series that it's only 30 minutes long. So the snacks digestible part of it, that's for the title. They will provide you valuable information for business owners and for the ones interested in learning more about innovative ways to lead and manage the changes during crisis. Industry influencers and leaders will be hosting bi-weekly seminars twice a month. During this COVID-19 period, we want to help you shape every decision you make, so we're passionate about getting you informed easily and in style. We can go to the second slide. So we're with ALPFA. ALPFA is a nonprofit organization that stands for Association of Latino Professionals for America. And our mission is to provide opportunities for leadership development, community engagement, and networking for the Latino men and women in the greater Boston area that will propel and excel their careers and livelihoods. We have multiple membership options for corporate, also for students. And nationally, we have over 92,000 professionals members. And just here in Boston alone, we're 8,000 plus. So this is a little bit of the organization that we contribute, and please check us out. If you have any questions, we'll be very excited to share more about it. I've personally been part of ALPFA for 5 years, and I have get a lot of value out of my membership. We can go to the next slide. So welcome to our very first entrepreneurial snack. We're very happy to introduce our next speakers and our first speaker for this series. This week we'll have one of our very own entrepreneurs. Ilhiana Rojas Saldana is the Chief Development Officer for our ALPFA Boston chapter. And she's also a transformational coach with BeLIVE Coaching and Consulting. Ilhiana is also an International Coach Federation and DISC Plus certified coach. She is a possibility thinker and a firm believer that nothing is impossible. Her mission is to enable professionals to move from the ordinary to the extraordinary through meaningful transformation by expanding their potential and embracing their purpose, igniting their brand, and thriving through professional empowerment. So without further ado, please raise a hand for Ilhiana Rojas.
Thank you, and I'm so excited to help kick off these first of a 6 series, and I already know some of the participants that are going to come, or the speakers that are going to come. So I'm very excited for the whole series because I think it's going to be very, very helpful for everybody out there to help maneuver these changing times. So let's start. First of all, for those of us joining, you'll be able to interact. This is a Zoom webinar, and we encourage you to interact and to ask questions through the Q&A portion in one of your in the bottom part of your screen, you'll see that. So also, as you know, obviously everybody is on mute, so to avoid any distracting noises, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to participate. So we definitely encourage you to do so. Okay, so let's get going. So it's no new news. Change is here. There is no escaping it. There is nothing we can do about it. And either we stay put and hope for the best and hope that somebody comes up with a solution, or we embrace it and move forward. So The reality is the world is evolving at this accelerated rate where companies and processes, ways to connect, the interaction with others, the ways that we learn, the ways that we work, everything in the world is evolving. And if we want to be successful in this new world, we also need to evolve with it. Now, the big question is, yes, I get it. We need to change, but how? And I've heard from many clients and friends and organizations, but where do I start? Like, it's no doubt that we need to shift, but how do I start? And most importantly, how do I change and shift without losing who we are, not only as individuals, but as entrepreneurs, as organizations? There is that also fear because they don't want to lose that core essence. So from a personal perspective or from a small business perspective. And although there is no magic formula on how to approach this, I do have several recommendations based on what I've seen has worked from others and has also worked for me. And that's what I'm going to share with each of you today. The first step is to reconnect. And reconnect with your core essence. What does that mean? To make a list of what are your strengths, what are you good at? What are the things that come second nature to you? What's your level of expertise on certain things? Really go dig deep into what are all those things that make you or that have helped you be successful in the past, and write those down. The second is understanding your core values. And this is really important because your core values are your motivators. They are the ones that help you get out of bed in the morning and really say, oh my God, like this is really for me, and put a smile on your face. They're the way that make you drive your decisions. So it's important to remember and reconnect with what are those core values, because sometimes, life gets in the way and we forget a little bit about them. And the third thing is understand and remember, what are you passionate about? We are all passionate about certain things, and we started our businesses or we started in a career path because we were passionate about certain things. So it's important to reconnect with those and remember why we started, why we wanted to build a legacy, or what we're trying to impact in the world despite COVID or anything. And that's going to be really important, because when we talk about reinvention, by reconnecting with our core essence, that's how we're going to be able to pivot and not lose ourselves in that pivoting, because you're going to stay true to your core essence, because changing and reinventing is just about the execution of how you deliver that, the core of who you are. So very important piece. The second piece of it is reimagining. So once you know and you've reconnected with who you are, now's the time to reimagine the possibilities of the future. Start by making a list of all the things that you could do. And this is blue sky thinking. It's about all your wildest dreams, about even remember, what did you want to do when you were a kid? Like all these potential things that you could be doing. Without starting to think why you can't do them. This is just very blue sky, because that's where many of the great ideas can come from. The second recommendation is to talk to others and understand their current needs and challenges. When you start talking about things with others and their ideas, and especially people that you currently serve or used to serve, new ideas can come up, because the reality is all of our needs are now changing. What we thought was important before is now no longer important, but other things have started to be important. So by having those conversations, it's going to start sparking these new ideas, and you'll be able to identify how can you now serve others to help them overcome those challenges or those needs, or meet those needs that they're currently facing. The third is to acknowledge the rules, and that rules and guidelines are shifting. Everything that we knew before is no longer or is being adjusted in some way or form. And with several people that I've talked, they're still trying, and that's just been, I've done it also because we feel that the rules are still the same. So we're trying to keep those guidelines and stick to those guidelines. But as we reimagine that future, we need to also reimagine those rules and those guidelines, how they're going to shift with us. And that's definitely going to help us as we envision this new future. We can also think about how you can help and support others. And this is going to become more essential as we move forward. It's not about the how am I going to make more money. It's really about how are we going to be able to help all of us together, because that's going to be the only way that as a community, as humanity, we're going to be able to make through this crisis successfully by helping others. So keep that in mind as you reimagine your world and your vision of who you can be. And our last thing, don't limit yourself. Again, the rules are changing, and what might not have been possible in the past might now be possible. I mean, we've seen dramatic shifts. I don't think many of us thought that we could be working from home, and many people are now working from home. So things that we never thought possible are now possible. So don't limit yourself when you do this blue sky thinking. And then the final point is to, once you've started to re-envision that future, now reinvent your impact and how you're able to execute whatever you do and impact the world around you in a way that serves this new environment and this new reality that's going to resolve the new challenges and the new situations that are gonna start coming up. Use your strengths and your knowledge and all your expertise and repurpose it in a completely different way, because then that's going to start opening up doors to new possibilities that you might have never thought of. A great example, for example, is when the big companies, the big car manufacturers, I mean, they could not keep producing cars because nobody's right now buying a car. However, they had the knowledge and the machines and the technology to do, the motors, and now they're doing the ventilators. So it's a great example of how you're using those strengths, that knowledge and that expertise, and now repurposing to do a complete different thing. So we're seeing examples of all of these companies and people that are just reinventing themselves by leaning on what they know and what their strengths are, and rethinking it and repackaging it in a completely different way to serve the current needs that are out there. So what's next? Make a plan. If you haven't laid out a clear plan on what you're going to do, start now. Use the next couple of days, even the weekend if you need to, but make a plan. The worst thing that you can do to try to move forward is not have a plan, because that will just throw you into trying to tackle too many things and not really get anywhere. Time right now is of the essence, so you need a plan on how to move forward. Brainstorm new opportunities. Like I said, it's just about starting with all these blue sky thinking, talk to other people to come up with these new ideas and potential things that you could be doing. Lean on others for support. Right now is not the time to do things on our own. We all need the support of others, and through collaboration and partnerships, that's how things are going to get done, because I have an expertise on something, you might have an expertise on something, and by bringing those two experts together, then something new will come up faster than if we try to do it on our own. I've seen, companies that are competition in an industry come together to resolve one issue. And that definitely is more helpful than trying to solve it on their own. So something to think about. prompt collaborations, partnerships, even with people that you never thought would be possible or that have nothing to do with your industry or where you are, because you never know when something can come together. And there are great examples out there that we can talk in the next couple of minutes. And the most important thing, make a positive difference. The companies, organizations, professionals, entrepreneurs that are going to come out of this successfully are those that are thinking with the heart first and are thinking of solutions with the end in mind of helping others. If the end is just about trying to, get a dime or the financial sense comes first, that's not what's going to help right now. It really has to be with the end of making a positive difference in the world. That's where the difference is gonna change, whether you're successful or not in this new world. So just some key thoughts. And bottom line, we all have the power to reinvent and thrive ourselves. All we need to do is believe. Thank you. And now we can be open for any thoughts, conversations for the next 15 minutes that you might have. And I can go back through some slides if anybody would like to go back through them again.
We have, hi Ilhiana, we have a question in our chat box. It says, can you recommend some places where we can take some graduate level certifications for free?
Sure. Well, now the learning is key for everything. There are many online sites that are putting a lot of their certifications for free. Even I just saw an email come from Harvard University and from other universities that are starting to give some, put out some of their certifications, some of their different courses for free. Now's the perfect time to learn anything, whatever it is.
I would certainly recommend EDX. EDX is a great source. They have MIT, Harvard, and Babson, really great free courses at the moment. So definitely check it out.
Exactly. And we don't know how much, these are going to be, for how long any of these are going to be available. So definitely I would encourage people to learn, to get these certifications, to just take these courses on things that you might not even, have thought of before, but always had the inkling of what would that look like. Go ahead, now's the perfect moment to do that.
I was just gonna say, my sister, I spoke to her and she always wanted to learn how to play an instrument. So now she started to learn how to read music and everything online for free. Luisa added on their chat box some of the resources that we're discussing. And Ilhiana, we have another question from the audience. Do you have some tips for us on how to accept change a little easier? I think we're naturally resistant to change, so we'll welcome ways in which we can process, so in which can the process be made less daunting?
Yes, totally. Yes, change is extremely overwhelming. In another webinar that I have about successfully navigating change, for me, it's about going into this very dark tunnel where you don't know where the end is. And that's why you get paralyzed, because you can't move forward because you feel that you are gonna fall. But the reality is that fear is just based on the lack of knowledge and not knowing where you're going or what your next step is. So don't think about the end destination, just think about taking one step at a time, and that's going to get you to start moving forward. So just make a list of what could be one or two things, not more, just one or two things that you could start doing differently today, and then this week, and then next week. if you take it like today, it could be, oh, I didn't realize that I could learn new things. So I'm going to go into one of these pages. Somebody just recommended in the chat, Udemy. I love Udemy. There's a lot of really good things there that are not free, but they're a very low cost. So just learn something new, and that could open up new possibilities. So yes, it's very daunting. However, it's just taking those, couple of steps at a time of a couple of new things that you can start doing that will help you open the door to gain new knowledge about, where you should go next. Talk to somebody you've never talked to before. Reach out to somebody that, you haven't talked to. All of those things are great ways to start gaining that knowledge. And it's like turning on a little light in that dark tunnel that will help you take one step at a time.
Yeah, and along those lines, we have a follow-up question on the links for the free education. It says, should they complement what we already do for work, or is it more wise to learn something completely different? An example for the free online certifications.
Yes, great question. It goes back to that reconnecting with who you are and reimagining those two steps that I mentioned, and reimagining what that future could look like. So if it's a short certification that will take you, maybe 4 sessions or a month or whatever it is on something completely different, by all means, if you feel like you have the time and it doesn't take a long time, do that. You never know where that's going to take you. It goes more to what you are interested in doing and what gets to your heart. When I was going through my transition from corporate into becoming an entrepreneur, I didn't know. I mean, it wasn't COVID, but it was still very paralyzing to try to figure out my next step. And I've always been interested in Reiki, and I started to get, into a Reiki certification because that was something that I was interested in. So I'm now a Reiki master. I'm not, I don't have a Reiki business, but just doing that helped me open up, to new opportunities that I never thought would be possible. So try something new. Yes, you never know.
Another question is, what platform or format do you recommend for prompting collaboration in this age of social distancing?
A lot, but the most important that I recommend to everybody is LinkedIn. Definitely, it's a great way to meet new people, to reach out to people, join groups. LinkedIn has a lot of great groups that you can, ask and click to be a part of, and then you see who belongs to the group, and then you can reach out to some of those people and just say, very casual, very natural, I've seen your career, I would love to talk more. How about 15 minutes to chat and just learn more about what you're doing? I think when you are natural, when you're authentic about doing, reaching out to people in that way, most people will answer back and will have that chat. If you just click on LinkedIn to meet people, to sell them something, you're not going to get a response. But if it's just very authentic, people will reach out and just have that casual conversation on Zoom.
And I want to add that I had the experience myself in these times. People feel a little bit lonely. So once you reach out to them and can we talk for 20 minutes about, the industry, let's connect. And I have been doing that with great success. So I certainly recommend it to everyone. Zoom is a free tool up to 40 minutes. So you can set your small meetings in Zoom and send the invitation to the other person and start collaborating.
Yeah, the other thing is ask people that you know to introduce you to somebody else that you don't know. I've been doing so many connections through the past month of people that I know would benefit from knowing each other. So that's also a great way to meet other people.
So we have time for one more question, and is will there be an opportunity for all entrepreneurs to network within this alpha entrepreneur ecosystem? These have been difficult times, and as a business owner, I'm not sure how to expand my business during these circumstances. And what the answer to that is absolutely yes. We are starting to wrap them up and very excited to start getting our name out there. We will certainly set some networking sessions, and we'll take advantage of the technology as we have it. And of course, once we are able to gather, we plan to have also some great in-person events with very famous speakers. We have one more. What great book about entrepreneurship do you recommend?
What was?
A book about entrepreneurship. I have a very, yeah, sorry,
go ahead. I haven't read and you know, I haven't had time to read. What I do is I go into TED Talks, I go attend webinars, I read articles. That's what I do, and I can recommend if somebody reaches out to me through LinkedIn and sends me a message, I can recommend a lot of really great articles. Also newsletters from, you know, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, because they give you small synopsis that can then lead you to other things. So those could be a great source of information. And because right now everything is changing so much, you want to stay up to speed on how things are moving. So, and books take a little bit longer, and by this time, some of them might be not out of date, but it might be more helpful to stay in touch with things that are you know, right now happening as we speak.
Yeah, well, from the entrepreneurial side, I have a very loved book that I want to recommend that it touches on revolution and reinvent. It's called The Innovator's Dilemma, the revolutionary book that will change the way you do business, and it's by Clayton Christensen. So we will put in that in the chat comments as well, so you can enjoy it. And with that, we can move forward, because we want to let you know. Thank you, Ilhiana, so much for that wonderful presentation and for allowing us the Q&A and pick your brain a little bit more. So if you enjoy the content today, please come back and join us for the following 5 sessions. It's gonna be every other Wednesday at 5:30, 30 minutes of great content. The next ones are, the next one is gonna be with Dolores Hischerman, and it's about how to adjust your business in this time of crisis. We have topics about leadership on May 28th, how to lead through change as well, how to craft a plan to make it through COVID-19, and also a very important, how to work on your personal and business brand. As things go back to normal, you will have to differentiate yourself than the rest more than ever. And we will have some great CEOs and entrepreneurs. So please check us out. We're in Eventbrite, and we'll follow up with you also with some material and a workbook, some takeaways and gifts to follow. And with that, thank you so much. Yes, Ilhiana, do you have any other words?
Just if people have any additional questions that we weren't able to answer, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email, and we can set up some time to chat. I'm always open to that. So to get, 15, 20 minutes, and you never know what can happen. So thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you all here, and we'll see you the next May 20th. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you.